Short PowerPoint lecture. Well, this one's a little bit longer than some of the other ones, but we're looking at search strategies. So basically, kind of short definition for that, combining words and phrases rather than expressing ideas in complete sentences. So sometimes that works for Google, although you do get better results if you search using phrases or keywords rather than asking a complete sentence. But this is definitely going to be the case for research databases. So you definitely need to use like single words or phrases even. You don't want to do a complete sentence. So again, keywords, not sentences. Databases and search engines, for the most part, don't understand natural language. So like, especially in Google, small words like articles, like a, the, that kind of thing, they don't even pay attention to it, so you don't need to include them. They search for individual concepts or keywords instead. Some words will be implied. Effects, research, impact, pros and cons, treatment, relationship. A lot of times you may not need to use those words, but you can always. There's nothing that says that you can't put them in just to be more specific or to say try and create further limits to focus in your research. So what you want to do is deconstruct a search prompt. So a lot of times you'll be given, say, like a question that needs answering or direction for something specific. So what you want to do is look at that sentence as a whole and find the context and relationship of the concepts. So pick out the unique or meaningful words, keywords specifically. Brainstorm additional words like synonyms or related topics. Basically, you just want to find out or figure out as many different ways that you could say a specific thing, because some ways may work better than others when you're trying to do research depending on where you're looking. Use multiple combinations of related terms to ensure that you find the most relevant research. So you want to make sure that you use all of, or at least try anyway, all of the different combinations of the things that you came up with during your brainstorming of additional words, just to make sure that you're getting everything. And look at controlled vocabulary. Controlled vocabulary, that's kind of a library jargon term, but basically that is the set of accepted terms for specific things. Sometimes you might find them in subject headings, or sometimes just called subjects, descriptors, or topics. You can see, for example, Library of Congress subject headings if you open up any book, generally like on the back of the title page or thereabouts, where you can find the publication date. You'll see some Library of Congress subject headings, and that's an example of controlled vocabularies. The control was basically put in place by the Library of Congress. So again, with the controlled vocabulary, you want to start broad, and then usually the way those work, especially with Library of Congress headings, is that they start broad and then they kind of get narrower and narrower. So they like reach in a little bit further, possibly for several steps until you get to the exact thing that you're looking for. So use the suggestions given to you by a library catalog or database. Again, with the subject headings, those can be very helpful. And the more focused of a database that you use, the more helpful the controlled vocabulary will become. So if you use a subject or database that's specific to, say, like health sciences research, for example, then your controlled vocabulary terms, those subject headings, will be very specific and generally unique to health sciences research. So you won't find things about, say, British literature in a health sciences database for controlled vocabulary. Reference materials can also be extremely helpful in defining your research topic. We talked a little bit about this before in other short videos, but you can use them to identify topics, suggest further resources or places to look for, or like places to go to create your research topic. You can use them to help figure out the scope of your topic. If there's an entire encyclopedia on your topic, it's too broad, remember. If there's a book, then that's a book material. You need to focus down a little bit more, especially if you know you have a page limit, which most of the time you will. Identify relevant keywords and related terms. The reference materials can help you do that. Sometimes they may even have them listed in particular articles. Just depends on what the publication. There is a link to our, well, it won't be an active link for you, but that is the link to get to all of our research databases. You probably have found them before now, but that's just what it is, unf.edu/library/databases. And that is, what you'll find on that page is all of the ones that we have, which is at this point right around 300 or so. So let's look at a research prompt, a topic, and we're going to look at how we can break it down, use some of those strategies that we just looked at to get to the keywords, the words that we want to actually use in our search, in our OneSearch or in databases. So prescription drug abuse is on the rise among teenagers. Explain some of the factors that may be causing this phenomenon. Okay. So here is our prompt again, just so we can all see it on this page. What are the main concepts here? So prescription drugs is going to be abuse. This is important to our topic. Rise, maybe some other word for that. You can maybe think on that too. Teenagers, that's the people that we're looking for. We need to explain something here. Factors, cause, and phenomena. Those are potentially some main concepts. You might come up with some others. You might think maybe some here are less important than others. I personally think a couple of them are less important, but it's definitely good to always break down as much as you can, and then you can determine from there what's going to be most useful to you. So from those topic kind of keywords, the most important points, we can decide potentially that teens and prescription drug abuse are the two top things. That's what we really need to get at in this research assignment. So then what we're going to do is figure out the different ways that we could say teens or different related topics. So in this case, we've got teenager, adolescent, youth. You might also add young people, high school students, college students. Maybe you can think of some others. And then on the other side, prescription drug abuse. So things that are related to that: controlled substances, addiction, painkillers. Got a couple of commonly abused prescription drugs here in Vicodin and OxyContin. Substance abuse, medication, pharmacy, problem. Again, you may be able to think of some others. Just definitely good idea to just get them all out there. Think of as many as you can because they will be helpful. Here's an example of something called a concept map that you can do inside Credo Reference. That's one of our, remember, our reference kind of encyclopedia databases. That is a link to it below, which has the proxy so you could access from off campus. You don't need to do this, but some people find this sort of visual thing helpful. And you can see just kind of how the words relate to each other. So putting it together, we broke our topic down into some key concepts, and then we broke those further down into what are the most important among those, and then got some related terms there so we could come up with as many possible search terms as possible. So what we come up with is teens and controlled substances, high school students and OxyContin. These are just a couple of the kind of combinations of those two sides with the teens and the prescription drug abuse that you could put together and potentially use those for your search terms. So adolescents and painkiller addiction, college students and medication. You can do more because obviously we had more than that on our list, but that's just a few as an example.